Galactic Warlords mocked humans, then regretted everything. To them, Earth was a joke. A quiet, green world at the edge of the stars. No ancient bloodlines. No super weapons. Just farmers, engineers, dreamers. So when the warlords of the galaxy looked down on us, they didn't see a threat. They saw an opportunity. They are weak, they said. They are not ready for war. And so they came with fleets of thousands. With pride. With fire. But while they ruled through fear, we built in silence. Deep beneath our oceans, under mountains, beyond the reach of their spies. We were preparing for the day they pushed too far. That day came. And from the edge of known space, the Omega-class dreadnought appeared. It didn't send a message. It didn't demand surrender. It erased the first warship with one shot. No sound. No wreckage. Just gone. Then another. And another. Until an entire armada vanished like dust in a storm. The warlords panicked. Their commands fell to static. And then, it got personal. Aboard the flagship of Grand Warlord Zarkin, a single human soldier breached the command deck. Zarkin roared, towering over him. "You're just a man," he shouted. But the human didn't flinch. He looked him in the eye and said, "No. I'm the reason your kind sleeps with one eye open." And with a press of a button, the ship collapsed in on itself. Not destroyed. Erased. From that moment forward, Earth was no longer seen as weak. It was feared. And the galaxy learned a brutal truth. The quiet ones are always the ones to watch. In the heart of the galaxy, where stars bled into spirals of gold and violet, the Great Council gathered once more. It was a place where power had a voice, and arrogance had many. Inside the obsidian chamber, beneath ceilings laced with glowing constellations, the warlords of 1,000 worlds sat on thrones of bone, steel, and fire. Each one crowned with terror, each one carrying the weight of blood-soaked conquests. Grand Warlord Zarkin rose, his massive frame eclipsing the twin suns shimmering through the council skylight. His skin shimmered with plated scales, his eyes burning like molten iron. He slammed his clawed fist against the table, shaking the room with a low thunder. "These humans," he spat, voice thick with contempt. "Primitive monkeys. Barely upright. They still burn rocks for energy and fight with sticks dressed as missiles." Laughter cracked through the chamber like a whip. The warlords roared. A creature with 3 jaws and 10 eyes shrieked with delight. Another, wrapped in shadows and smoke, clicked its fangs in rhythm. One pounded its chest so hard that dust rained from the ceiling. Above them, a hologram flickered to life, a blue marble floating in the void. Earth. Its surface was calm, delicate. Green forests, oceans, cities sleeping under clouds. The warlords leaned forward, sneering. "Peaceful," one hissed. "Defenseless," snarled another. "Soft," said Zarkin, grinning. Their laughter grew louder. Egos inflated. Pride sharpened. To them, Earth was prey without fangs. A garden waiting to be trampled. But in the shadows just outside the circle of flame that lit the chamber sat one who did not laugh. The Archivist. Wrapped in silver-gray robes older than some stars, he sat still as stone, yet his mind wandered galaxies ahead. 2 glowing eyes, sunken deep beneath a translucent hood, studied the hologram of Earth not with mockery, but curiosity. Caution. He had seen this pattern before too many times. The silence before the storm. The calm face hiding something ancient, something dangerous. He knew something the others didn't. As the warlords mocked and howled, the archivist slowly reached into the folds of his robe and touched a small, glowing crystal. It pulsed once, in warning. And though he said nothing, his thoughts whispered like cold wind through forgotten ruins. You laugh now, but soon you will remember fear. Beyond the known lanes of the Orion expanse, where stars hung like cold embers in a dying fire, a Zarnik patrol vessel drifted through the dark. Its hull was black and angular, shaped like a predator's jaw designed to instill fear. Within its command deck, the Zarnik crew moved with casual confidence. They had conquered 30 worlds this cycle. Earth would be the 31st. Ahead, a lone human outpost shimmered on a desert moon. Silent. No beacons. No escorts. Just small structures and faint thermal signatures. Jam their signals, the captain growled, rising from his seat. The order was obeyed instantly. The stars outside dimmed as the ship's systems cut off all external comms. The Zarnik believed in swift domination. Surprise. Fire. Ruin. He stepped forward, mandibles twitching with satisfaction. Let's take this outpost, he said coldly. No defenses. No fleet. Just soft-skinned prey. The drop pods launched like meteors. They descended fast, carving fire into the sky. The ground shook as they landed on the outskirts of the colony, crushing small buildings, tearing up soil and dust. And then, a silence fell. No alarms. No weapons. No resistance. Just smoke. The Zarnik soldiers emerged, weapons drawn, eyes scanning. But something was wrong. The air felt heavy. Charged. Without warning, without sound, their patrol ship, still hovering above, split apart like paper. A glowing line of white light shimmered in the air. The ship's halves tumbled, trailing sparks and wreckage as they crashed into the mountains beyond. The soldiers froze. From the smoke, a silhouette emerged. Tall. Human. He wore a sleek, obsidian black armor, veins of pale blue energy pulsing softly across the surface. His helmet retracted slowly, revealing calm human eyes beneath steady, unafraid. You came uninvited, he said, voice quiet but sharp as a blade. Now you can leave, in pieces. The air behind him shimmered. Drones uncloaked, floating like silent ghosts. Defense turrets rose from the sand, clicking into place. The Zarnik crew panicked, scattering, screaming in their own tongue. But it was too late. The colony had never been undefended. It had been waiting. Watching. And now, for the first time in centuries, the Zarnik had something new to report. Deep within the war tunnels of the Zarkan flagship, carved from meteor iron and lit by blood-red holograms, chaos festered like a wound. The command war room was alive with argument. Dozens of admirals hissed, growled, and slammed their fists on the translucent war table. The air was thick with confusion, and something worse, uncertainty. Screens buzzed with broken transmissions. Flickering images of burning outposts. Static screams. Maps littered with blinking X's, each one marking a lost patrol. Scout Team Zeta, destroyed. Delta Unit, missing. 13 assault groups, no survivors. And no human prisoners. None. Warlord Rectal slammed his claws into the console, sparks flying. They don't even have a real fleet, he snarled. Just tricks. Parlor games. Primitive traps. But across the room, Warlord Vexari turned slowly, his voice like a blade dragged across stone. Tricks, he said, don't leave a Leviathan battleship in ruins. As silence fell. The Leviathan had been the pride of the Eastern Rim Fleet. 5 kilometers of death, shields like starlight, cannons that could erase moons. Gone. Without a trace. The war table shifted, displaying a galactic map. Human colonies, once faint stars on the edge of the spiral, were now glowing red. But not with distress. With retaliation. Each marked system now pulsed with movement. Coordinated jumps. Flashes of counterattacks. Reports of human vessels, strange ones. Unidentified classes. Weapons that didn't match known blueprints. And worst of all, cloaked signatures. Invisible. Untrackable. Vexari narrowed his eyes. His tendrils pulled tight against his skin. They are not reacting like prey, he said coldly. They are moving like predators. Around him, the warlords said nothing. Because in the silence, they all saw it. A pattern. Not fear. Not chaos. But calculated revenge, designed, deliberate, and far from over. Sector 9. The Dead Nebula. A place where starlight died young, where gas clouds curled like phantom smoke, and instruments failed without warning. It was the perfect shroud, the perfect route to strike Earth undetected. Thousands of Zarkan warships drifted in, their engines humming low, lights dimmed, cloaks engaged. A silent invasion force, moving like shadows through cosmic fog. Inside the lead vessel, alien commanders stood proud. This is how empires fall, one whispered. Without a sound. But space began to hum. Faint. At first, barely there. A strange vibration like a distant choir of machines waking from a long sleep. Then, light. Not from stars. Not from weapons. But from the nebula itself. Lines of glowing red surged across the fog like veins coming alive. Hidden symbols ignited in ultraviolet. And all at once the illusion fell. Cloaked satellites blinked into view, thousands of them. Drones unfolded from folded space. Minds, once silent and dormant, flared like suns. The Zarkan fleet was surrounded from every direction. Aboard a cruiser, a pilot screamed. They knew. It's a trap. They knew. Too late. The first wave struck like lightning. Mines pierced hulls like needles through silk. Cloaked drones dove in squadrons, cutting engines, and tearing through armor. Ships exploded one by one, flames blooming in slow motion through the thick mist. Admirals shouted. Orders clashed. Some vessels fired blindly, hitting their own. Others tried to flee, but the nebula twisted navigation. They were flying in circles, like beasts caught in a cage they couldn't see. In the command bridge of the flagship, Warlord Zarkan stood frozen, watching as icons vanished from the tactical screen. Dozens. Hundreds. The nebula had never been empty. It had been waiting. Waiting for them. And Earth? Earth was not the hunted anymore. Earth had laid the trap. Beneath the mountains of what was once Colorado, carved into the bones of the Earth itself, the Earth Defense HQ hummed like the heart of a sleeping beast. In its core chamber, deep underground, a circular map of the galaxy pulsed with shifting lights. Red zones. Blackouts. Lost colonies. Crushed fleets. And one single growing glow. Earth. Commander Isla stood in the silence. She wore no armor. No medals. Only a dark suit woven with neural threads. Her eyes sharp, calm, were fixed on the map as the Council's holographic faces flickered around her. Some angry. Some afraid. A few, still doubtful. She didn't blink. They laughed, she said softly, her voice cutting through the cold air like a razor. Because they saw our past. The map zoomed in. Dozens of war zones blinked into view, each with human ships. Human victories. Human shadows. But we evolved in war. Our planet taught us to adapt. To endure. To break and rebuild. Images of ancient wars. Of burning cities. Of trenches and orbital fires. All played behind her. We learned in silence. The room dimmed. We built in the dark. And then space itself shivered. From the far edge of the system, beyond Pluto's grave and Saturn's rings, a ripple tore through the fabric of space-time. No flash. No roar. Just a presence vast and soundless emerging. The holographic map froze, glitching for a second. Then it appeared. Omega-class Dreadnought. Codename, Final Answer. A ship unlike any other. 10 times the size of a standard battlecruiser. Dark as obsidian. Its surface flowed like liquid metal, veins of dark blue energy crawling across it like living fire. It didn't blink. It didn't drift. It moved with intent. It didn't just fly. It hunted. Dozens of alien listening posts caught its emergence and fell silent. No signals. No time. The council stared, speechless. And Isla whispered, almost as if to herself. They thought we were behind. But they forgot. We stopped showing them the truth a long time ago. In the void beyond the stars, Final Answer turned toward the fleet that mocked Earth. And began its approach. Above the swirling golden rings of Titan, beneath the pale shadow of Saturn, the galaxies might have gathered. Over 3,000 warships hovered in formation, blades of metal and fire, glowing in the void like a sea of suns. Each ship from a different empire. Each captain burning with pride. From the insectoid dreadnoughts of the Krillic Horde to the crystalline cruisers of the Zealary Choir, they had answered Zarkan's call. Together, they believed, they would end Earth. On the command bridge of the lead vessel, Zarkan stood tall, armored in obsidian, surrounded by his finest generals. Their claws and tendrils hovered over control panels, calculating impact, orbit trajectories, fire grids. Confidence rippled across the armada. And then, the stars dimmed. A single ripple in the fabric of space began to spread, gentle at first, like the surface of a calm lake disturbed by something rising from beneath. From the edge of nothing, it arrived. The Omega-class Dreadnought. Final Answer. It did not announce itself. It did not broadcast threats. It simply appeared. And the void bent around it. The ship looked like a fragment of night given form, its body absorbing starlight, devouring reflection. Runes of ancient Earth tech glowed faintly across its hull, symbols none of the aliens could read. But all of them could feel it. Dread. On the bridge, Zarkan's second-in-command swallowed hard. "It's alone," he whispered. "One ship." Zarkan narrowed his eyes. "Destroy it." But before a single command could be given, the Omega ship's core pulsed. A beam not of light, but of warped space lashed forward like a blade made from folded dimensions. And one alien destroyer simply vanished. No fire. No debris. Gone. Another flashed. 5 ships blinked out of existence. No shields could block it. No systems could track it. Panic spread. Communication broke into chaos. Spatial integrity collapsing. "We can't lock on, it's not in real space. They are folding through our weapons grid." And still, the Omega ship drifted forward, slow, unbothered. On the command deck, Zarkan's claws trembled. He stepped back. He looked out into the void as more ships disappeared into nothing. And for the first time in his long, violent life, fear found him. He whispered, "What are they?" No one answered. Because at that moment, every warlord realized they hadn't brought enough firepower to fight humans. They'd brought themselves into humanity's hunting ground. Inside the command bridge of Zarkan's flagship, the Maul of Dawn alarms screamed like dying creatures. Red lights spun across polished obsidian floors. Structural warnings flashed in dozens of alien languages. Then silence. A soft hiss. A heartbeat's pause. And then the airlock exploded inward. Steel bent like paper. Fire tore through control panels. Several guards were incinerated instantly. And through the smoke, he walked in. A human. Alone. Encased in armor blacker than the space outside, with threads of glowing blue light pulsing beneath the surface like veins of a living weapon. His helmet hissed open, revealing eyes that burned not with rage, but purpose. Zarkan stared, stunned. His soldiers raised weapons, but the human didn't flinch. He stepped onto the bridge as if he belonged there. As if this was always the plan. Zarkan roared and charged, claws outstretched, a beast built from war and fury. "You're just a man," he thundered. But the human didn't move. Didn't draw a weapon. He smiled. "No," he said calmly. "I'm the reason your kind sleeps with one eye open." And with a flick of his wrist, he activated the device. A low hum rose through the ship's bones. Lights died. Gravity trembled. Reality itself seemed to bend, then snap. The flagship's core collapsed inward, folding under the weight of a singularity no one had detected. Zarkan had time for one last breath. Then the command bridge. The warlord. The ship. Were gone. No wreckage. No explosion. Just silence. And drifting among the stars, far above the burning rings of Titan, the Omega Dreadnought turned away, its mission complete. And the galaxy, for the first time in 1,000 years, remembered what it meant to be hunted. The Galactic Council convened once more. But the chamber no longer echoed with laughter. The thrones of many warlords now sat empty, charred, silent reminders of fleets that no longer existed. Shadows clung to the corners of the obsidian walls. Even the stars visible through the high skylights seemed to keep their distance, as if the cosmos itself had gone quiet. In the center of the council floor stood the archivist. He did not raise his voice. He didn't need to. Every word landed like a stone dropped into still water. "You mock the silence of Earth." His eyes, ancient and glowing like dying stars, swept the room. But silence hides storms. The council remained motionless. No one challenged. No one objected. They had all seen the footage. What little survived. The vanishing fleets. The impossible ship. The lone human who walked into the heart of a war and tore it out. A motion was placed on the floor. No discussion. Rule 9, Galactic Protection Decree. Earth is not to be provoked, challenged, or approached without unanimous council consent. It passed. Unanimously. On every official star map across the galaxy, one change was made. Earth was no longer marked blue for developing. Not red for hostile. Not even yellow for restricted. It was marked black. A color not of danger, but uncertainty. And in the silence of that hall, the archivist turned, cloak whispering across the cold floor. His final words drifted behind him, soft as dust, heavy as truth. They mocked humanity. Until they learned. The worst monsters are born in quiet places.